Baker, please stand and say pledge allegiance. Right back there. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Heine. Leach.
Here.
Nugent.
Here.
Thompson.
Here.
Young. Zimmerman.
Here.
Lambert.
Here. First order of business will be the recognitions of the Student and Employee of the Month. Would like Kayla come up if she would, please. Kayla. Can you come right up here? Yeah. Come on up.
Right here.
Right here. Okay. Very good. Congratulations, you look very nice. Thank you very much. And you're going to turn around and read something about you, and then we're going to give you something. So turn around so we can see how nice she is. Kayla is truly a wonderful student to have. She is kind and sweet to all of her classmates. Kayla stays on task and always follows direction. She loves to write stories and takes pride in her schoolwork each day, and we appreciate having Kayla in the class. And we will have the pictures. If you guys want a copy of the picture, we'll have copies of it. Okay. Caleb, you look fine with that sweatshirt on, man. Looks like a Spartan. Congratulations. I need you to turn around. Caleb is receiving Student of the Month because he consistently tries to do his best work. He is always looking for ways that he can be helpful to his fellow classmates and teachers, whether it is volunteering or to help clean up, shut down the computers, help other students with the work, or help a friend look for something they lost. Caleb shows others how to be a member of the Westfield community. He's always responsible, respectful, and kind to others, and we again appreciate very much Caleb's work. Thank you. There you go. And that's for the bookstore, so you get a gift card to the bookstore. Dylan Brown.
Oh, that's recording.
Congratulations. And the same girl, right? There you go. Dylan is a kind student who is willing to help his peers. He works hard in everything that he does, thus showing a strong level of responsibility and commitment. Again, thank you very much, Dylan. Good job, bud. Thank you. Madison Whitaker. You, Madison? Madison has made great strides in her attitude towards school this year. She is a leader in her class. She has done an excellent job for poetry readings, participates in math class, even though she hates the fact that the alphabet is now part of her math problems. And is doing very well in science. She is very helpful and reliable in gardening club. We have seen huge improvements in her attitude and classroom behavior. Madison is doing very good in science. She is helpful and reliable in gardening club. She is a great artist who works hard on her ideas and finishes each project with great detail. And again, congratulations and thank you very much. And then one other, our staff recognition, Cindy Newman.
You see this.
Cindy works tirelessly to bring experiences and information to her young children in a nurturing yet structured class. She has high expectations for herself and for her students, and it's evident in her students when her students move on to kindergarten. I've seen her working late in the evenings as she prepares activities and lessons for her classes. Her patience seems to be endless even during the most stressful times. I also see that she is in constant contact with the kindergarten to make sure her curriculum corresponds with core standards expected of our kindergarten students. For being new to our district, she's definitely an asset to our district and the children in early childhood. And again, Cindy, thank you very much, and we appreciate it. We again appreciate families coming out and sharing with us. At this time, however, if you'd like to take the children home because they don't want to stay for the whole meeting, that's perfectly fine. We understand. Again, thank you very much for coming out and letting us recognize your children. And for all the work you do, helping us make sure they're doing what they're supposed to be doing. Thanks.
Thank you, guys.
Mom, now
Bye.
Thank you. Thanks for coming out.
Thank you very much.
Rhonda, you can leave too. Oh. I mean, come on, I meant, come on up. That's what I meant. Move up. It's right here.
Okay, at this time we'll open up the floor for public comments and questions. Rhonda, did you have something?
Yeah, one or two things. First thing is the alumni scholarship. I just wanted to throw that out there in case any board member wanted to donate into the hat. It's pass the hat between the two buildings. We usually end up with $300, $350-ish, but if you want to donate, Dennis can get an envelope and I'll check with him in the morning and I'll follow up on that. But
Rhonda,
very
tell
nice.
them what that is.
Tell them what, explain it.
Yeah.
It's for a student who went to school here, K through 8, and is in about the top 25% of the class, but not 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-ish, not right at those, because those kids always get lots of things, so this kind of opens up for the other ones. What? No? Well, one time I was there, the kid got like $5,000 and another this, and I thought, I don't, let's share this. Anyways, so they have to write a 100-word kind of little, it's not even an essay, just a memory of why was their elementary education, how did it make them who they are today as a a high school senior. It's a little kind of a reflection of their K-8 memories and the teachers' involvement with them and whatever. So I had 6 applicants and they've been passed around to some faculty and graded, so I'm wrapping that up and I will present it at the scholarship night at Zion in May 17th-ish or whatever that is. So that's what that is. So the second thing on my agenda is I just wanted to come to, well, first off, I'm totally aware of our lean budget. I understand all that, and as a town resident, I'm certainly appreciate the fact of trying to, the district to be frugal. However, some of those things, some of the things that are due to the budget really bind my hands as a professional trying to do my job, especially when it comes to the use of the library here. I just would like to come and emphasize, as I know administration has, but I thought you'd like to hear it maybe from the trenches, that North Prairie just really needs, at the very minimum, a competent aide whose sole responsibility is the operation of this room. It holds tens of thousands of dollars worth of inventory, and it should be the hub of our learning. This year's 3rd grade class will be the first to take the Parks exam, which is replacing the ISAT, and that's what they're calling it for right now. And it's based on these new Common Core standards that you may have been hearing about. These Common Core standards recommend that students do at least 4 small research projects a school year, and that's in the core subject areas and even in fine arts. They want it all incorporated. However, when I go to return books that I've pulled from my classroom or to grab a cart from the library, I have to unlock the door to come in here and often turn on the lights. So you can see it's not real inviting for our students. to promote reading, which is at, you know, the top of our list. Our literature texts are outdated and centered on the ISAT format. Sixth grade's copyright of their texts are 1998. The ones I have are 1994. I didn't check seventh grade, they're slightly more current. So to update all 3 literature series would, for textbooks alone, would be approximately $20,000. And that was a rough guesstimate from Pearson. To include the teacher's manuals and some other random things too, brings it up to about 22,000-ish. And I bring that up as a point. If, knowing our district, I think that if you had a good library aide in here and you already have your seasoned professionals, that's me, I think that we could use, I think that we could work around the deficit by having access to the novels and the literature that we needed to continue to move forward and stay competitive with our test scores. It certainly would be a step in the right direction, you know, as we prepare for these tests that are right around the corner. And then I think we could pay for an aide and still have money left over to attend, you know, to send our staff to professional conventions, etc., so they can continue to stay current. The lower grades do a fabulous job submerging the students in literature, but when they get here, the doors are locked. And only your language arts classrooms have a lot of books in them, and those are books for a whole grade for 75 kids, as opposed to in your elementary room where you have a very nice classroom set of books and 24 kids or so. So, you know, we're already working against the adolescent mind, you know, that's nearly locked out reading in their rebellion as it is. And so we don't really need another hurdle at trying to get them submerged into books. And actually the student of the month here tonight was an excellent example of that. Beginning of the year, she wouldn't read, I was able to slide her a few books that I knew were a little bit dicey and she would like them. Now I'm reprimanding her because she's not following what I'm doing in class and she's over there trying to hide what she's reading. So no, but I don't have any spectacular ideas of where this money should come from. My calendar girl's idea was quickly shot down in the lounge. But I just wanted to, you know, a voice from the trenches to speak in support for the administrators who are already trying to budget for this, I know. And by the way, I just wanted to thank everyone for the promotion that I had received in the fall, where I was put responsible for 37 of the biggest kids in one classroom. I tried to look at that as I was in charge of more people. But I certainly appreciate the demotion back to a quite much more manageable class size, and we've been able to make a lot of progress since then. And I think Jim's grandson is a perfect example of a kid reading that loves biographies, and he'll read them, but I don't have that many in my classroom, and they're having a hard time, you know, getting on a regular schedule in here. You know, if there was a aide in here, Summer and I and the new 6th grade language arts teacher, we could, you know, rotate in and sign up. But, you know, and I certainly did at the beginning of the year try to bring the classes in, but then I couldn't get logged onto the computers. I could, you know, check the books out. And I had 36 kids I was trying to keep quiet at the same time. And so it became just extremely difficult and not the best use of my time. So, you know, I know the money's not there, but somewhere maybe it'll eke out or some surprise will happen, and that's it. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. Anybody else?
We cut back the snow plows.
We did this year. Mother Nature did that.
Okay, at this time I'm going to close the floor for public comments and questions, and we'll move on to the consent agenda items. So this moment, I'll be looking for approval for consent agenda items A, B, and C. Second. Any discussion?
Heine. Leach.
Yes.
Nugent.
Yes.
Thompson. Young. Zimmerman.
Yes.
Lambert.
Yes.
One of the questions, and a board member asked me about the difference in heat, electricity in some of the buildings, and going back through the difference. It's twofold. One, obviously, heat, because the winter was milder. Electricity, because we negotiated a lower rate, so that ended up affecting that cost. So the number was down appreciably over this time last year.
Information items, North Prairie and Westfield principals updates. Add anything ordinary rule?
Besides the concert, anything schedule-wise? Yeah, besides the concert and graduation. Is that last month's packet? I
Yep.
wasn't.
In the last Friday phone call, I think I had a list.
Oh, we want
I had a list of all of the events, last Friday's phone call that are between, and it's not all, but it's tried to be all, the events between now and the end of school. So I have graduation and concerts and
Pretty much anything at night that you would be particularly interested in should be in that important dates.
no, it was the one, it was not, that's this one, yeah, the one.
Not this past Friday.
13.
Okay, and we have the preliminary amended fiscal year 2012 budget.
Yeah. So we're looking at amending the budget, but next month we'll bring to you a tentative. This is just like a preliminary, just showing you the changes that we're looking at doing. If you recall, a while ago we informed you of the payroll program, the projections program we used didn't carry over the number of summer pays that it should have. So last year, teachers that their contract ends the first pay in August. However, our fiscal year starts the 1st of July. And so there were 3 pays in July and then 1 in August. So the system usually carries over those 4 pretty easily, and there's not a worry. For some reason, it only carried over 1, not 3. So pretty much the salary numbers are off those 3 days. And so those are the numbers that we put in, that's the right numbers to add. And so it adds $266,000 to our expenditures. On the other side, there are revenues. When we were budgeting revenues, we were pretty conservative about the state and pretty not expecting much from the state, so we only put in a couple pays, and we added another quarterly payment that we're expecting to get by the end of the year, and so that adds back $200,000. So the net change for that issue is about $44,000. You'll see. Sorry, the pages are the first one is they're backwards.
Yeah, they're backwards.
If you flip to the next page, these are like all the other items that we were doing. In Title I, we got some more money from them, so we got $7,800 more for the Title I program, and we accounted for that below. Also, there were changes made to come up with the 5th, 6th, 5th teacher that we added here. So there's a number of cuts from a number of different areas. Putting those cuts in that Ted came up with, and the cuts that Dennis came up with to make up for the cost of that teacher. So we put those in there. There's a couple of other things there, like we had, last year we had, Deirdre Cook was not a music teacher, and so when we were putting the budget together, we didn't quite know what was going to happen with the music teacher, and so Deirdre's salary is higher than what Kyle Barron's was, and so we were appropriating that money. Her money was in North Prairie teacher's account, but now we're putting it where it should be, which is the music teacher's salary. The final thing that we changed was Pearson, which would be for this school management software, $13,400. We split it between Westfield software and North Prairie software. And then there's one other minor thing. There's a $1,000 Trustmark grant that somebody got in the district. I don't know who got it, but there's a $1,000 Trustmark grant, and so we added that to the budget so that they
The idea is just to try to get the budget, after living with it for a year, more in line with what we actually did.
This is the current year budget, and we're
Yes, sir.
going to impact it by about $44,000.
Yep, and so if you look at the next thing in there is the proposed budget worksheet, and if you go to the 23rd page, it's all the pages, which shows you every line item. Our projected, we're looking at a projected surplus of $92,000 for the budget. Our actuals will be different than that, but that's at least what the budget said before. It would have been around $200,000.
Before, meaning before we found out they didn't pull pays.
It's still a very, very good budget, but this is just more accurate towards
First one, there's some information in it on instruction that they're trying to highlight, as you see, internet safety, and it's necessary to receive funds under the elementary and secondary education. And again, the third page of it, there's a little bit more dealing specifically with internet safety. And it's the words are just more direct. The next policy, field trips, deals with field trips. And it has the school board has to approve any overnight field trips, and then it has the superintendent as compared to the principal, so there are minor changes. But again, when legislation makes changes, they give us policies to kind of reflect that. 6250 instruction, community resource person and volunteers, and what they've done is added community resource persons to the volunteer section, and they want to make sure that you're checking on them for not having people who are on the lists for being predators. And the last one, instruction, assemblies, and ceremonies, and it has to do with previously, assemblies must be approved by the building principal. Currently, according to being in line, they want us to be approved by superintendent or designate. And that's the change in those policies. And those are for next month.
All right, on to the action items.
I missed it. Did we go over the student handbook changes?
Oh, I missed that, sorry.
Should have you got it. Okay, Pat, you want to run for us?
That's a handout of them. There really aren't any major changes within there. It cleaned up some of the language in a few spots that clarified the action. The only thing that really is spelled out better, it was somewhat vague, and we've had pretty difficult time trying to get kids in general, not just this year, but in the last, I don't know, since I've been principal, to get to school on time. And and Ted and I found that we weren't both having the same procedures in terms of consequences for that, and so we worked through a process and set up, brought it to PTO for them to take a look at and see what they thought was fair, and so could change and get on the same process and then spell it out in the handbook. I think the thing that we hope will help us the most is that after a fifth party, that the parent conference that will be requiring them to do it, depending on the quarter, depending on where we're at, issued morning detention, so at least that morning they come to school on time. And it really, you know, I looked at the data, my initial first meeting, I guess, of the parent that was mad that their child was getting a morning detention time, blamed it, of course, on the busing. You know, if we had buses, there wouldn't be parties. And we had the data there, and we've had about the same number of tardies. It really hasn't increased any more than it had the year before. So that really wasn't. I'm not sure if that's true of North Prairie or not, but in my case, that really hasn't been a significant factor. But anyway, we're on the same. Consequences will be the same in both our buildings, so that we found that there was a legitimate argument that one was happening, you know, the daughter at one building and the daughter at the other building weren't being treated in the same way for the same incidents, and we agreed that probably isn't a very good idea. We should get on the same.
So you get the one there on time,
Yeah.
and the one you don't get that one.
Yeah. But anyway,
The
so
meeting was a new idea, and that they checking with other schools and how they handle it. And I really like the idea of having the parent have to come in and go through why it's important, and that if you have a classroom teacher and they have 30 plus students like Rhonda, right? And you have, you know, you're allowed to have 5 or 6 or 10 tardies a year. You end up with every day 2 or 3 kids kind of wandering in at some point or other, and so it's hard to begin instruction and follow through. So we can have the parents in and kind of talk with them a little bit, and it's a little bit of an inconvenience, but hopefully it'll help them understand how important we think it is. So.
And one of the, we struck out in the policy the 70s rule and our reasoning behind it. It is a policy within the district. However, our standard, we hold to a higher standard than that, quite honestly. So I really don't, we just decided it's fine, it's a minimal standard in there, but I didn't, I thought that with our RTI process in terms of attendance and grades and performance, it's higher than that. And so kind of advocating that within the handbook, we decided we really didn't want to do that. We could certainly rise to a better percentage than that. So I mean, there's nothing wrong with it in terms of it being part of the policy, but just thought it would be better if that was. Anyway, so that's our reason for that. I mean, we could keep it in there. It's not hurting anything, but I just don't think it communicates as strong as the message as we'd like to.
Yeah, just one question. I just thought about board meetings. Is it a contract with you?
And, yeah, I didn't, that was something that was in our policy, and I thought, I didn't know that as well.
It's the next page 4, number 1, highlight it.
If we change the meeting, should have gone to the meeting prior to the change.
The location.
But unanimous?
Location.
No, I think it's changing the working plan.
If we're going to be at Westfield or
Right,
whatever.
right.
We're not moving the high school meeting.
Right.
Unanimous.
That's how I,
That's why I highlighted.
I stayed
I'm like,
with the holiday inn.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh,
you change the location, well, we never have it in a different.
I'm sorry? I'll check.
It's kind of an odd comment, odd thing to have in there.
I'll check page 4 once in policies.
We also added one of the, and it's kind of in our handbook, it said in the past that they would sign off on internet acceptable use policy, but what our practice has been is that they sign off that they've read the handbook, and in the handbook it has an acceptable use policy in it. So just change the verbiage in it. It says it's now the handbook permission, you know, that I've read the handbook. So it's just tweaking it a little bit, that it's more the practice we really do.
And it must have been a page where it was, because it went alphabetically, it matched up. I checked.
Page left blank intentionally.
That was all the stuff we changed.
It's an invisible ink.
Page 1. And I'm gonna send out again that list of the dates.
Anything else? Any more questions?
Just to note that you'll need to vote on this for next time as accepting it, so that,
Right, so we have a little time left.
No, on the action items. Maintenance grant application.
What we'll be asking you to do is to approve the maintenance grant application. What we're doing with that is we will apply for a maintenance grant of $50,000 from the state of Illinois to be matched by Winthrop Harbor, and the project is the roof at Westfield. So we got a bid in, which you'll see in the next one. But the first one is to approve the maintenance grant, and then the work at Westfield is contingent on getting the money. So we've told the workers that. So the first piece is the grant, and I can send the grant in, it's all written, but I can't send it into the board.
This time we'll be looking for a motion to approve the maintenance grant application.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
Leach,
Yes.
Nugent,
Yes.
Thompson, Young, Zimmerman,
Yes.
Lambert,
Yes.
Tiny.
Can I ask this question? We may get approved on the grant, but is it contingent upon being funded? So that's what this thing, well, I mean, that's one of the problems.
No, you're exactly right. That's what we got beat up on the technology.
So even though we're gonna work.
What they've said
That's
to me is
kinda
we're
what
gonna
the
get
next-
it fairly soon. So that's what, yes, it'd be contingent on getting it. And he's got a bit of a problem, Precision Roofing. We've talked with them saying that as of July 1, they think materials prices are gonna go up considerably. And so they bid it with the old one, but I'm hopeful that it won't be a problem.
Well,
We'll have the money
prevailing
to
wage,
get it.
it's prevailing wage. so-
He's looking at the cost of materials and stuff. He's saying that's right. Yeah, but I'm optimistic it'll all get done.
Right,
So
so
do they think, I'm sorry, this is something we'd apply, they think we'll get it, this is something.
May 1st, you have
on
to
the
apply.
table, right?
May 1st, you have to apply, and they're thinking you're gonna get it real soon. Everybody's doing the work in the summer.
Okay, so I mean, this isn't like okay.
No, it's supposed to be
1 year
quick.
wait or something.
Yep.
the next item is, we're looking for a motion to approve the roofing bid with Precision Roofing contingent upon the receipt of the grant funds.
So, and I'll second.
The Precision was the low bid of 2 bids.
Yes.
Question? What happens if we don't, I mean, if for some reason the grant money doesn't come in, or we still need the roof, but we don't have any funding to do so?
We would just keep doing what we're doing, patch a piece at a time. Yep. Yes, Jim, it was $30,000 difference. We have the money that Precisions came in at 119.5, and it was 138 or 139. 148. But it was $30,000 more for what Keegan booked.
Nugent,
Yes.
Thompson,
Yes.
Young, Zimmerman,
Yes.
Lambert,
Yes.
Tiny, Leach.
I'm sure Precision Roofing out there.
Next item, approval of student management software for Pearson Power School.
And again, we brought this up last month and needed to begin moving on it. We're underway. We have timelines and dates where we'll be giving them the information that we have so they can enter it into their program. Supposedly, they clean up data so that if you have, an example would be, if you have 3 children in the district, somebody might live at 4th Street, somebody might live at 4th, somebody might live on, and so they just are spelled out differently, and the data in many instances will list them as being different addresses because they're not the same. And so Pearson goes through and cleans everything up and brings it all together so that you can use the product. It's pretty accurate right there, what we were talking about. And then we have a time with that and a time for administrator training, and we have a time set up for secretarial training, and a time set up for teacher trainer training, and then times for the teachers to be trained. So we're underway with it. They allowed us to pay 2 payments, and payments of equal amounts in one in this year, one in the next fiscal year. And there's no interest on that. So, and Dan has worked that into the budget and has brought into focus.
And a lot of that came from the last
Snow plowing.
Yeah.
So this is college fund.
And some from the special interest.
So I'll be looking for a motion to approve the student management software. Any other discussion?
Thompson.
Yes.
Young. Zimmerman. Lambert.
Yes.
Heine. Leach.
Yes.
Nugent.
And yes.
And again, we did go through, we were gonna have to make change. So the system we have, we couldn't stay with. The issue is, it was gonna cost us more money, and I mean, no matter what, we had to do something. So we were in a spot where we had to make change, and then we tried to look around, and some of the articles I've been getting here lately, that the state of Illinois is saying you shouldn't force consolidations, but what we should be doing is finding more ways to be sharing services and working together in various districts. And our school is the system used by Zion and Beach Park both. And so if we ever get to the point where we're able or willing or able to work together, we're in a system that's consistent with the other elementary districts. It's also probably the most common system in Illinois for doing the same work. But we really did look at, and that was one of the factors we used in making the decision, was that both the other elementary people were using the same thing.
And what Dan, is this address that issue we talked about a year ago about trying to look at a system that held all the scores and the data?
Well, it's not as, there's another piece that's called the data warehouse that would allow us to better use it for teaching. This is, all the scores go in, so all the two students' test scores go in, but it doesn't allow you to manipulate the data as well. But it does give us what we have to do for the state reporting, and that's a big part of the change.
Next item is changing the main board meeting from the 28th to the 21st due to the Memorial Day holiday. Motion to change next month's board meeting.
Second.
Any discussion?
Young. Zimmerman.
Yes.
Lambert.
Yes.
Heine. Leach.
Yes.
Nugent.
Yes.
Thompson.
Item E, 3 board policies from last month. We're looking for a motion to approve board policies 5220, 5285, and 650.
So moved.
Second. Any discussion?
Zimmerman.
Yes.
Lambert.
Yes.
Heine. Leach.
Yes.
Nugent.
Yes.
Thompson. Young.
The roofing bids, and we had the 2 bids, 119.5 and 148. I'm recommending we go with Precision Roofing. Union contracts are in, that we had printed. Just an article on Facebook, we've had the discussion at times because there are some teachers that weren't sure whether or not they should be Facebooking with ex-students and or even students. And so it was an interesting article on Facebooking and ways in which people are using it, think it has the potential to be beneficial and probably concerns people heavily. TRS and investment fees, there's an article critical, I think, on investing done by TRS and the amount of money they've had, the amount of fees they've paid. And so a lot of times what I'm after with the articles is just to make sure board members have a chance to read them in case constituents ask you questions about them and what you're thinking. The pension costs included this article from the Daily Herald regarding the impact of pushing pension costs to local school districts. And next Friday phone call, there's 2 or 3 more articles on pension. And there's, the governor's come out with his recommendation. And a number of the pieces really could be interesting. Consistently, they're saying anybody who's in the system, who's retired, won't be impacted. There's a 3% growth factor that compounds in retirement right now. So every year, the retiree gets a 3% increase and it compounds. What they're saying for the new one is that it'll be 3% and/or half of CPI, whichever's less than non-compounding. So it'll be hugely different. And it wouldn't surprise me if some of those pieces are in there if we didn't see an exodus of a bunch of people who were close to being able to retiring. Even the people who were in getting you know, they're in the last 3 years and kind of planning for retirement, I could see where all of them would bail, saying, no, we want to keep in that old system. So I will share information just so we're aware. The state of Illinois doesn't have enough money. They want the schools to pick up the cost of transportation. They want the schools to pick up the cost of the pension thing. And they'd like us to find the billions of dollars they've unfunded the retirement system and find a way to put that back so they don't have to. So there's lots of stuff going around on it, and I don't have any idea what's going to happen, but it's surely interesting to watch. First draft of recommendation from the Commission on Charter to School Consolidation in Illinois, and that's where the one is, Illinois, where they say we should be looking at ways of sharing services and working together on things, but not necessarily consolidations. And so, and again, an example of that for me would be if you had the 4 districts, all payroll could be done at the high school, and they could do payroll for all the districts. And you would have fewer payroll people doing it, and people who were doing it would, I mean, a lot of it would be done in computer fashion, but you can reduce the number of people doing stuff and share those services, and we can become more efficient. You wouldn't have to consolidate schools. The business office could all be done in one district, and the school districts would still maintain their autonomy. They would just purchase the services from the district that's providing. And that's a little bit what's in that capital watch thing. Reminder of the planning session, reminder of the multi-district board meeting, and information from Pat Hopkins.
There's nothing further. Looking for a motion for adjournment.
Penny, Leach, Nugent,
Yes.
Thompson, Young, Zimmerman, Lambert. Less than last one.
My grandson doesn't read enough.